Welcome back, Raider Nation. It's Joseph here for Zenny62. So this is going to be a brief take on what I thought about Josh McDaniels' scouting combine presser. So briefly, what I want to talk about was his thoughts on the defense, because a lot has been said whether or not Gus Bradley, who successfully had improved the defense considerably, has placed some of the key players like a Max Crosby, who's been very successful in a 4-3 defensive scheme. Now, one of the interesting things and one of the things that I liked about what Josh McDaniels said was how the NFL 80 to 85% is nickel and dime packages. And he said the idea that 3-4, 4-3 is kind of going by the wayside. It's evolving, it's changing. And he's changing and evolving with it. And that's one of the key components he talked to Patrick Graham about, is that they're changing with the times. They've been discussing how there's an evolution occurring. And this is me paraphrasing exactly his words. But there's an evolution happening where, the whole idea of a 3-4 or 4-3 scheme, it's almost somewhat of a hybrid situation depending on the opponent, depending on the plays. And what I see with Josh McDaniels and what he has mentioned himself is that he likes good new ideas from, people that are new, the kids. There's like I said, NFL is always evolved, and we get used to a certain coaches or liking certain coaches the way things used to be. I hate change. I'm one of those people who has a hard time with change. But one of the things I see with Josh McDaniels is that things do change, and things are changing. And he said bringing in new ideas, bringing in new people, young people with new ideas. And see, that's where the success of Josh McDaniels will be based on. And what I think is going to be successful is that idea of changing and evolving with the game for the betterment and playing on the player's strength. That's the one thing he kept reiterating throughout this press conference, is keeping these players that we do have that are good players that he sees that are valuable, as he said, to the Raiders, as to the organization, and playing to their strengths. And that's what I think will be the key to a potentially successful season in 2022. Now, the other topic I want to talk about was Alex Leatherwood. A lot has been said about whether or not even last year, whether or not we should have drafted Alex Leatherwood. When he was asked specifically how do we address that, or what his thoughts were about Alex Leatherwood, it seemed like you could read between the lines, and this is exactly what he said. He said he's played a lot of football for a rookie. And not to put words in his mouth, but he didn't say he was a good player or I would have drafted him. But he said there's a lot of good and there's a lot of things we have to work on. So I expected there's going to be some strong considerations of what we do with Alex Leatherwood. I do suspect we're going to keep him and utilize him as best as we can. But, take what you will from the words that he did say. Let me know your thoughts on what you thought his thoughts were on Alex Leatherwood. So the last thing I want to talk about is Derek Carr. He was asked by a reporter whether or not he's spoken to Derek Carr and what's the contract situation. And of course, he did say he'd spoken to Derek Carr several times and wasn't focused too much on talking to him about a contract. Basically, he said he wanted to get to know Derek Carr, and he spends a lot of time with him in Vegas, as obviously Derek Carr lives in Vegas. Now, he's not going to give us anything in talks about the business situation. He did say Derek Carr is a good football player. He's won a lot of games and feels like he could be an asset to him in the system. And frankly, you could take whatever you want or read between the lines with that. We know how much Derek Carr wants Davante Adams, and we do need a number one wide receiver. And so when you consider what potentially Derek Carr could get in a contract extension, and we know what Davante Adams wants. He wants north of $30 million. So you can't have both. One of the scenarios that I liked a lot personally was when Paul Gutierrez had 3 scenarios. One of them being that Derek Carr plays in his contract, on his contract, which is about roughly $20 million for this year, and wait till next year to extend a contract, or potentially at the end of this season, upcoming season, to extend his contract, maybe to a 3-year deal. Because if we do the contract extension now, we're limited in how much we can go and get those other pieces that we need. We do need an offensive right tackle. Obviously, we signed Andrew Billings, defensive tackle, but I don't think that's going to be the last signing for that position. So we need key pieces that we need to fill. We also got to consider extending Max Crosby and Hunter Renfrow. We got to consider all of that. It's better to do that now than later. We've had Derek Carr for 8 years. We know what Derek Carr can do, and we know what he can't do. But at the same time, do I think we need to keep Derek? Yes. Do I think we need to trade him? No. Because we could get a flurry of number 1 picks, or 2 number 1 draft picks for him, or a series of draft picks. But we're still putting in somebody new, somebody who potentially will be a rookie. That's going to take 2 or 3 years to develop, especially if it's going to be developed by Josh McDaniels. And so it's a step back. And if we do that, that's essentially a rebuilding of the Raider team. So do I think we keep Derek? Yes. Do I think we should extend his contract? No, I don't necessarily think so. If we do, we do. I won't be disappointed. But I think the smart thing to do is let Derek play on his current contract. Wait till the end of the season or next year to extend his contract so we get those key pieces like a Davante Adams or other wide receivers out there. We have DJ Chark. We have Allen Robinson potentially. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that we could do with this money if we don't do his contract now. Now, you got to realize this is a business. This is not about, he's loyal to the team and this. Unfortunately, times have changed, and I don't know if that's necessarily going to be the main component of whether or not we extend his contract now. Definitely, Derek's a Raider for life. He'll always be known as a Raider, and I tip my hat to him that he's loyal and has always defended the shield. And I hope nothing but the best moving forward for Derek, including a good contract for him. But frankly, this is a business. So what we got to consider is that what do we need now to fill in the needs that we have now, because we do have Derek for this year. And so that's my take on that. Let me know what your take is with regards to everything we spoke about today. Before I go, I want you to know that I did this potentially new series that I'll be doing called Movie News with myself. And, besides being a very loyal and devoted Raider fan, I'm also really into movies, cinema, especially old school cinema, and I dabble in politics as well. So check out this video about the Batman, Matt Reeves' The Batman. It's movie news with me, and let me know what you think. I'm gonna show you a photo of the vlog I did. It's here on Zenny62. Make sure you check it out. It's my take on the Batman and what's going to happen with that. So, again, keep it here on Zenny62, and don't forget to like and subscribe.